As a photographer, you're acutely aware of the power of light in your images. As a landscape photographer, you often wait for hours just for that correct, beautiful light that you've been waiting for so that it lights that shot up perfectly. And as a wildlife photographer, often you're just waiting for enough light at all just to take an image. But a lot of the time we don't think too much about the light that you need when you're doing macro photography and how that might affect your images. So in this video, that's what I'm going to take a look at. Now, the fantastic people at JJC sent me this macro arm light out to test, and I thought it would be a really good opportunity to look at light in macro photography and how it affects your images. And I know in the past I've done quite a few videos on getting started in macro photography and actually the kit that you need and how to do it on a budget. And in those videos, what I've been doing is using mobile phone lights, torches, reflectors, all sorts of stuff, tin foil, anything that you can use to get that light into the right places on your subject. Now, this product here obviously does the same thing, but in a lot more professional manner. It gives you a lot more control, and so I thought it'd be useful to use this and obviously test this product at the same time. I will leave a link in the description below to this product if you want to get hold of one of these for yourself. But yeah, let's crack on and see what we can do. Right, so this is the JJC Macro Arm Light. Now, it's quite a simple design really. You've got two flexible arms with two independent lights on the end, and what I mean by independent is that you don't have to have them both on at the same time. You can have them both on at the same time, but you can also turn one of them off, either. And each of them, the lights have also got 10 levels of brightness, so you can either turn the light down or turn it up. It's a rechargeable battery in here, so as you can see there's a charging point on the side here, so you've not got to worry about batteries. And the other thing is, obviously it fits in the hot shoe of the camera, but there's also a screw point there, so if you wanted to put it on a separate tripod, which is probably what I'm going to do with some of the shots today, you can actually put it into there rather than having it on top of the camera, because sometimes, you know, yeah, it looks great on the top of the camera, but sometimes you might want to pull a light further behind the subject and light it from the back. So maybe if you've got this on a tripod, you can move that away from the camera and shoot slightly from the side out of shot and change the point of light even more than you can do if you anchor it to the top of the camera. Really flexible, these will go in any direction. And yeah, the other thing I would say about this, it's a really great price. These actually I think are under 40 quid on Amazon at the moment, so for two lights like this for macro photography, I think that's a really good deal. Anyway, let's get out there and do some shooting and see what we can come up with. Right, so today's lighting setup is going to be really simple. What I've decided to do is just use one subject and then just change the lighting for each shot, and hopefully you should be able to see the subtle differences that the lighting is making. Now, I've got one problem today, which is the sun, which you probably see is behind me. The reason I've got it behind me, my subjects here, is because I want to try and use myself as a little bit of a screen. Two reasons really. The first one is if I've got sunlight coming in, again, that is going to complicate the matter with the light and how I'm balancing it with the two lights that I'm going to be using as well as the sun. But number two is that, and this is a really good tip for you as well, if you're doing things like fungi or plant photography, the best days to do it are days where it's really bright, but you've got no direct sunlight. So I'm talking like a thin, hazy cloud over the sky that acts like a really big softbox really, and it just gives you some nice flat light. So I'm hoping to achieve that by just keeping myself in the way of the sun and casting a nice shadow over the subject I'm using today, so that basically it'll just be these lights and the way I'm positioning them that is setting up the light on the subject. So anyway, let's crack on with it, and I'll show you some different lighting setups and the images that we get from it, and hopefully you'll be able to see those subtle changes. Right, so this first shot is actually a shot I took with no lights at all. So this is me shielding the sun, so it's an in shade shot. And I really like the flatness of the light on this subject, and that's why I say to you a lot of the time it's really good to get out when you've got a bright day but an overcast day, because you are not getting any harsh shadows coming across your plant. And you know, there's nothing worse than a tree above you that's casting its shadow of branches and things over your subject. It really looks terrible, and obviously in bright sunlight the light is really harsh as well. So I think this one's come out reasonably well. As I say, it's just a flat shot with no lights involved at all. When we move to this first shot, this is lit from the front, and again, as you can see, that the light has started to pick out the veins in the leaves, and also you can see that the hairs on the ends of the leaves are starting to be picked out by the light that's coming through them. What I'm talking about is shadows. Obviously here, look, you can see we've created a shadow from the leaves of the actual petals of the plant in the back here. So again, you know, what you're liable to do, and as I said, this is a really simple setup. What I might do is use reflectors and things so that my light is a lot softer than here. But again, it's just to show what the direction of light, what it makes the subject look like from coming from a different direction. In this third shot, I really like this one. This is one I tried where I put the lights on, but to the right and low down. So as you can see, the light is clearly shining through this leaf here, and it has absolutely lit up all the veins in the leaf, as well as the little hairs on the edges there as well. And yeah, I think this looks really cool. It really does lead you into the image of the flower. And again, you know, depending on what your image is and what you're trying to convey with that image would depend how you lit it. But again, a really different image to the last one. And finally, this one's lit from the back, a little bit similar to the last one. I liked that one so much, I thought, what would it look like coming from the back? And as you can see, it started to pick out this side of the leaf here underneath the actual bloom of the flower. And again, we've got those hairs showing through as well. But again, quite a different look to the earlier images, and something that I would probably do using reflectors as well. So I'd be bouncing that light around, maybe even using coloured reflectors to change the colour of the light when it's hitting the plant. You've got so many options when you get into this, and what I found by using these lights was the lights was something I didn't have to worry about. You know, if I'm using old torches or my mobile phone to provide a light, I'm often having to move it around, and then halfway through the shot the light's falling over from what I've propped it up against, and it's not really at the right angle I want it to be at, but it's the closest I can get. With these lights on these flexible stems, you can just put them there and they stay there, and you know, you can really forget about that, and then obviously work on other things like, am I going to bounce the light to something else? Am I going to use different coloured light? This was a really simple setup, but I hope it does show the direction and the way that you're using the light does greatly affect the look of your image. So what are my conclusions about this macro light extension from JJC? Well, I think for me, if I was a photographer who had started in macro photography and I was at the stage where I was using an oddment of lights to light my subjects, doing a lot of plant or flower photography, or that early morning insect photography, as I say, this would be something that I would jump at the chance of getting hold of, because when you're doing macro photography there are a lot of things to consider, and if you've got something stable and secure that you can set up and know it's going to do the job, it's going to light your subject, it's not going to move around once you've put it in place, it takes one of the things out of the way that normally you'd be fussing around trying to change and move around. It's a fairly simple setup. So you've got two lights, you've got really good control of the amount of light you're getting out of the lights. You can turn it up or down, and you can either have both lights on or single lights individually from either side. So as I say, it's quite a simple way to work, but a very, very useful setup to have. Right, as you saw from the last clip, I'm probably going to have to make a little bit of an addendum to this video, and that's because I decided to have a go with the camera in this configuration. So a lot of the time, if I'm shooting insects, I'll probably not be using a tripod because I'm actually just trying to get into position and using high-speed flash to get multiple images. And as I've seen, if you want to watch my other videos, I'll put a link up here where I show the techniques that I use. But I thought I'd try with these lights, and what I was expecting was that, I know from experience that if you're photographing a subject and it's in the sun, if you move into position and block the sun out of the way and put a shadow over your subject, it tends to fly away. And I was expecting that having bright lights suddenly appearing onto your subject would have the same effect, but so far it doesn't seem to have done that. Maybe it's because the insects like the light, and when it gets lighter it's as if the sun's landed on them and they want to bask in that and warm up, and they actually like being in the sun rather than the shade. But yeah, it's worked reasonably well so far. Everything has been fairly relaxed. So yeah, probably another way that you could use these lights if you don't want to use flash. The only thing I would say that I've found that I don't particularly like about this unit, and I suspect it's because it's a universal unit, so it's got to fit a lot of different cameras, and that is the fact that in the hot shoe, as you can see here, there's quite a bit of movement. Even though I've tightened this up, it moves around. And as I say, I think that's probably because it's designed to fit multiple different cameras, and so the hot shoe can't be particularly designed for Nikon or Sony. So it's not a particularly tight fit, but it doesn't, affect the sort of use of the thing particularly. It still works very, very well. Right, I hope you've enjoyed this video. As I said at the start of the video, I've kept this fairly simple. We've had a very brief look at macro photography lighting. It's a subject that you could do a series of videos on, really. So if you want more videos on macro photography lighting, please let me know in the description below. Drop me a comment. I really just wanted to get this product out to you, ready for the macro photography season, because as I say, if you're a beginner macro photographer and you just want something economical that's going to solve quite a few problems for you, then this is a really good product to have a look at, and I will leave a link in the description below. But yeah, if you want more macro photography lighting videos, as I say, we didn't bring any reflectors out with me today, just because I wanted to keep it simple and focus on these lights, but it's just a massive subject that you can spend an awful long time on, and I'm quite happy to do that if you want me to do it. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll see you next time for another one, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. See you next time.